I've been looking at various pictures of early indigenous people. And I can't help but think that they and they alone understood what real freedom was. And of course, you could include the early mountain men and scouts and pioneers that went from the east to the west searching for freedom. But as I look at those pictures, and by the way, I find a lot of those portrayals on Pinterest. And I see those indigenous men and women in mountainous areas and streams running through, and their teepees set up astride horses. And there's just something about that just screams from my soul that I wish I could experience that level of freedom. Now, don't get me wrong, I think of myself as a free man. I was born to be a free man, to live by the laws of nature and nature's God. However, in this technological, political, religious world that we live in, that's so influenced by laws and rules and regulations imposed by man, that early freedom that the indigenous people experienced has been lost. It's lost, it's gone. And I'm making this, I'll call it a video, but I'm making this as I lay here upon my bed in the darkness, because I find sometimes when I just sit or lay in the darkness, I can begin to really visualize things and somehow grasp a greater understanding of what life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness actually means. And we don't have that in the full capacity today. It's just not there. Every time we turn around, someone's in our pocket or wanting to get in our pocket, take more money, tax us, take money. It's mind-boggling. And then we have to work more and more and more to somehow try to satisfy this deep longing for freedom, but it's been substituted by material things. Well, if I can just buy a newer car, if I can just buy another house, if I can just get another job that pays more, if I can just buy some new clothes, if I can, and the list goes on and on and on and on. If I could just have more vacation time. If I could just find a better husband or a better wife. It's always if I can just have. But it never satisfies. Material things can never satisfy the deepest desire from the soul to be free. But as I said, we've given ourselves over to substitutions to try to fill that void. But it doesn't do it. It never will. Material things loses its shine and its value many times in a short span of time. Nevertheless, we continue to be caught up into that vacuum of materialism. But I am working every day to become more and more of a minimalist, to become more and more disconnected from this societal machine that sucks you in, just chews you up and spits you out. I mean, come on. Look what's going on in this country, on the political scene, in the political arena, the religious arena. Look what's going on. Divisiveness, hatred, anger. It's destructive. And all the while, none of them are free. They can't even be free from their anger and their hatred and their divisiveness and their the illusion and delusion that they're trying to live out. They can't be free. They can't be free from lying, from fraud, from hypocrisy. They're slaves to materialism. They're slaves to power. They're slaves to dominance. They're slaves to tyranny. And for the most part, those in the political and the religious arena who constantly, by aggressive means, obtain more power and wealth, they're nothing more than tyrants and thugs and bullies and punks and pukes and scumbags and dirtbags. That's all they are. That's all they are. And I refuse to subject myself to such vile filth. I don't even like to look at their pictures. I don't like to hear the sound of their voice, whether it be on the political arena or the religious arena. It's just disgusting. It's sickening. And it never stops. Bicker back and forth. There's not even enough words in all the languages of the world to describe the pathetic, disgusting, degenerate, sickening poisons that come out of their mouth and their actions. Makes me want to puke. Just let me saddle up on a iron horse or a four-legged horse and take off into the wind. Let me view a mountainscape, a river running through a pine-forested valley. Let me stand in the wilderness and not hear the sound of a political voice or religious voice that is so perverted and disgusting that all I hear is the sound of the wind moving through the trees, the chirp of a bird, the bugle of an elk, and watch the sunrise and the sunset over the wilderness paradise. Those are priceless treasures that my eyes, the gift of sight, can capture the majesty and the beauty of a sunrise or a sunset. That my ears, this gift to be able to hear the sound of the wind, the bugle of an elk, the call of the wild. What a gift. That my sense of smell, that gift of being able to smell, it catches the scent of ponderosa pine, the scent of sage, the scent of the wildness. It's priceless. Priceless. The more years I accumulate, the more these things become real to me. And I look back and I realize how much time I've wasted in pursuit of the wrong type of happiness, in pursuit of the wrong type of life, in the pursuit of the wrong kind of liberty that I was sold a bill of goods. If you have this, if you pursue this, if you go this way, you can experience freedom and liberty. No, it doesn't work that way. Because those voices, those influential voices were pulling me into a make-believe world, a world of greed and fraud and hypocrisy and slavery, mental, emotional, financial slavery. It's all an illusion. So I'm doing my best to disconnect from all of that. And I realize I will never be able to experience the lofty level of freedom that those early indigenous people experienced, and the mountain men and the scouts and the early pioneers, as they battled the elements moving westward, trying to escape the quagmire of what was called civilization. I'll never be able to experience it on that level, but I'm working very hard to experience it on levels that I've never experienced before. I've always said, and I've told my children, it doesn't cost a lot to live. In actuality, it doesn't cost a lot to live, but it costs everything to want. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. That's where the cost comes in. That's where the consequences come in. We have become a society addicted to materialism. We've become a society addicted to propaganda. We become a society addicted to lies, illusions, fantasies, delusions. But I want to continue to work on discovering what life really is, what liberty truly is, and pursue those things of happiness that sets us free. I don't want to be a slave to lies, to fraud, to propaganda, to social pressures, to political pressures, to religious pressures. I want to use the intelligence that the Creator has given me to think, to rationalize, to reason, to understand, to simply use common sense. I'm not talking about anarchy. I'm not talking about lawlessness. I'm not talking about immorality. I'm not talking about living an unprincipled life, an undisciplined life. Because I've always said that true freedom requires, demands, mandates the highest level of responsibility and accountability and discipline, integrity, morality. So I continue my search.